The Harford Center is a day habilitation and supported employment program for those with disabilities. This is a place where everyone is treated with both dignity and respect. Join us in the next 30 minutes as we learn all about the Harford Center and what they're doing to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic, along with what we can do as a community to help. I'm Christy Breslin, and this is Harford MagaScene. I'm here with Sherry Nolte. She's the executive director of the Harford Center. She's a good friend of mine, and let me tell you, one of the most passionate people about the work that she does in Harford County. We are so happy to be here today. She's going to tell us about the Harford Center, what they do, how the pandemic has changed them, and all about their fundraising efforts, plus their hiring. So we want to have you stick around for that as well. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Christy. Thank you so much for having me here. It's always an honor. I appreciate it so much.
Now, Sherry, I know the Harford Center, you know the Harford Center, but our viewers, let's tell them more about the Harford Center. Who are you and what are you all about?
So, what can I tell you about the Harford Center? First, it's my pride and joy. It's my heart. I'm very blessed. I get to come to work every day here at the Harford Center. A lot of people wake up in the morning and dread their jobs. I love my job. I love every minute of everything I do here. And the fact that I get to help be a part of the mission of this organization is extraordinary. And some days I literally have to kind of pinch myself and say, I can't believe I got to land here. And I have the privilege of bringing joy to people's lives. And I get to see it every single day. So what is the Harford Center? What do? We are a day hab and supported employment program for adults with disabilities. We support people, about 140 people in Harford County, some in Cecil County, some in northern Baltimore County, ranging a range of disabilities from people who need total care. So we're providing all of their helping with walking, helping with eating, toileting, to folks who we're supporting to work in the communities, like you and I work. So they would get supports in the community to work. So we're unique, where most day hab programs kind of serve one type of person, either higher or lower functioning, not the greatest term, but I think people can identify with that. Absolutely. Whereas here at the Harford Center, we serve a continuum, that there is no disability that we won't support. There is no person that we won't support if we are able to, and it's a good match for them. So we support people who are able to go out into the workforce, to people who really do need our supports in order to eat and to just enjoy their day. So we have two locations. One here that you're sitting in right now.
This is huge.
This is our great room. So this used to be a church. And this building we rent from the county for $1 a year. So Harford County government has been an incredible support to the Harford Center, and I can't say enough about their support. And then we have another location out in Highland, it's Street, which we also rent from the county for a comparable cost, which was an old school, the old Highland School. Our Highland location is where our folks do our community services. They're doing volunteer work, they're doing employment services, and then here is more of your traditional day hab, where it's more social skill building, spending time in the community. If you were to come here, say in the middle of the day, it would probably sound a lot like this. People aren't here. Like, we land here for a minute and people disperse, and then we're out in the community. So and things have changed a lot since I started here. So right now, mostly we are in the community. COVID's changed a little bit, but yeah, so that's a little bit about the Harford Center.
Well, I think COVID's changed a lot for everybody. So what would you say the biggest impact the pandemic has had on the center?
Well, I'm not a big bragger, but I'm going to brag just for a second about my team. We never closed. We were one of 15 day hab programs in Maryland that never closed. We were the only day hab program in Harford County that stayed open. The day that Hogan announced basically the world was shutting down and businesses closed and day habs closed and people all went to their homes and kind of retreated, made a decision that we weren't going to do that, that whatever it took, we were going to support the people that we have committed, that we have a mission to support. And so what we did was I called all the other providers in Harford County and I said, we're going to form a coalition and I need you to allow me to put my staff in your residential homes so the staff are supporting the same people and they're not going to lose employment. The participants are going to still have the same staff in their lives. So we continued to keep those staff on payroll and they went into the residential homes. It was never done. Had to kind of call DDA, had to form some MOUs, be really, really creative, and we did all of this in the course of 24 hours.
Wow.
So with the exception of some of our transportation staff, we didn't have to lay off any staff. Additionally, we created a virtual show where we didn't even know if we were going to be able to kind of bill for this. It just was the right thing to do at the time. So we created online programming for people who we couldn't support in person or in the residences so they would still have connection with their staff.
Well, Sherry, how large is your staff?
So before the pandemic, we had about 85, and we're down to probably about 50 now.
Well, that brings me to another issue that we were going to talk about. We not only have the pandemic, but we also have a staffing crisis.
Yeah, I like to call it
about that.
The second pandemic, which is the workforce crisis, and everybody knows it. I mean, you go into a restaurant and you see the signs, please be patient with our staff, we're understaffed, we're undersupplied. We're the same thing here. The difference is our supplies are, we can't say, I'm sorry, we're out of mozzarella sticks tonight. What we're out of is staff. And it's really, really difficult because you figure as a nation, we've lost hundreds of thousands of lives. We've lost hundreds of thousands in the workforce. We have staff who are home still taking care of their loved ones, who are still managing what society is now with kids in school, but then having to get sent home on quarantine. So we've had to kind of really look at how we are embracing and supporting our staff. But unfortunately, we don't have the kind of environment where we can say everyone work remotely.
Right.
We have to be hands-on with our individuals. And we can't say, okay, we have one staff person, they can support 10 people, because you can't do that well. Where our ratios are no more than 1 to 6, and in many cases it's 1 to 1 because of the intense needs, behavioral needs, emotional needs, physical needs of the people that we support. We're down 33% of our workforce.
Now, Sherry, you told me about the staff, but how many people do you actually serve here at the Harford Center on a daily basis?
So we were supporting 140. We're down to about 65%.
Wow, okay.
So there's about 35% of people that we are not able to support, which is heartbreaking. It breaks my heart. And we've done everything in terms of recruitment. And part of why I want to get our message out is to show people, why work here? Why work at the Harford Center? Why, if I'm going to re-enter the workforce, because they say this is the great resignation. That's the big term you're hearing out there.
Right.
And I want this to be the great, Harford Center restart. That people, if you want to change careers, you weren't finding joy and meaning in your life, come here. Now,
of course, congratulations are in order. You're celebrating your 60th anniversary. That is unreal.
I know. So this is our big 60th year. And, I would like to say, the COVID, but it just shows another way that the agency has been able to change to meet the needs of its community. Mm-hmm. And the Harford Center started, I don't know if you know this story, I'll tell you a quick story. The Harford Center started in the living room of Dr. and Mrs. Palmer.
No, I did not know that.
Who were local residents here in Bel Air back in 1961. And they took in people's kids and adults when they had to work who had disabilities because it was a community need, kind of like that neighborhood house where all the kids went to.
Right.
Well, Dr. and Mrs. Palmer took in people's children and adult children with disabilities. And eventually the need grew to the point where it had to become an organization and become incorporated and grew to this 2-location, 140 participant organization that we are today. So it warms my heart to know that the Harford Center hasn't lost where it came from.
Right.
Its humble beginnings, where we are responsive to what the community needs. That this organization is continually evolving. The only constant here at the Harford Center is change. That and I say this to my staff and I say this to my management team, that things that stagnate die. That if we don't continue, and you think about it, look at evolution. Right. Things that don't change, unfortunately, are unable to adapt in order to stay alive and thrive. So at the Harford Center, I said, don't write it in pen, put it in pencil, because something, if there's a better quality initiative that comes along, or if there's an idea that comes along, that we might scrap that and do something new and innovative. And we're constantly doing innovative things because we want to make sure that the people at the Harford Center have the best experiences, not just, yesterday's experiences.
Sherry, I've got to touch on this. I've worked with you on so many fundraisers for the Harford Center here, and now more than ever, fundraising is just vital to the success of nonprofits. So let's talk about the fundraising that you've been doing, and how can we as a community give back? How can we make a donation, and what is it used for?
So this is our 60th year, and we have our 60 for 60 campaign. We're doing a big push for Giving Tuesday. In addition, you can go to our website, www.harfordcenter.org. Hopefully we'll get that website posted up there, and you can donate right on our website. Additionally, we're also having a golf tournament. So that's a good opportunity for folks to come out, have some fun, support. It's on May 9th, so mark your calendars. And just a quick fact, we're fundraising about a $300,000 gap per year between what we get from the state and the county to what we need to provide quality services.
Sherry, obviously there's a process to obtain the services here at the Harford Center. What are the eligibility requirements that need to be met?
That's a great question. So you would need to go through your service coordinator or your case coordinator. So a person who has a developmental disability, typically when you are in school, as you're transitioning out, you hit that 18th year, because you transition at 21 if you're a person with a disability who has developmental disabilities. And your case coordinator would help you to identify the right match for you. So you get to visit all kinds of different day hubs. Come here, look around Harford County, look around Baltimore County, and find the greatest match for you. We don't want someone to choose the Harford Center unless they feel it in their heart.
Oh, absolutely. And let's get back to the hiring. You're hiring. What are you hiring for?
So we are hiring mainly for direct support professionals. That is our direct person who helps with the participants, which is the best job here. It's the job where you get to make the most impact, the most difference in a person's day. And we don't have nights, we don't have weekends. We're offering hiring bonuses. We have a great benefit package, and we're very competitive in terms of our salaries in Harford County. So we welcome applicants. If you're interested, again, go to our website. The jobs are posted there. Go to our Facebook page. Check us out there. I think you'll get to see a lot of the activities we do and get to see how you could have joy in your life, not just in the life of someone else, but it'll bring you joy as well.
Sherry, thank you so much. I always love being here. I always love working with you, and I think it's so important that our community comes together, and what better cause than the Harford Center, right?
Thank you so much. I appreciate so much your time, your advocacy, and always being a champion for the Harford Center. So much. Thank you, Christy.
It's a great organization. Now, coming up next, we're going to speak to Daphne Scharf. She has a daughter that attends the Harford Center, and she is also a former employee herself. She's going to give us an idea of what it is like to work at the Harford Center and why it brings so much joy to her daughter on a daily basis. Stay with us. Daphne Scharf is here to tell us about her experience at the Harford Center. Her daughter attends here. Her daughter has attended here for years, and Daphne also is a former staff member. Let's hear what she has to say about the Harford Center, how they're handling the pandemic, and why it means so much to her and her daughter. Hi, Daphne.
Hi.
Daphne, how did you first learn about the Harford Center?
I learned about the Harford Center when my daughter graduated from John Archer in 2011.
And tell me more about your daughter, and why did you feel like the Harford Center was going to be such a great fit for her?
Danara is a very fun young lady, and when she graduated from John Archer in 2011, they suggested that she come here to the Harford Center to continue with her activities, learning activities, but that didn't happen the way I was told it would happen. She was here just basically, at that time, just watching television a lot. And when I would come and visit, I would like to have seen more. And so the more I voiced my opinion, it wasn't being heard until 2013 when Sherry came along.
Daphne, as a participant of the Harford Center who has a daughter that goes here, tell me what kind of meaning the center brings to her on a day-to-day basis.
Danara wakes up before everybody in the house to get her bath, get her hair brushed. She will give you a brush for you to get her ready. She's ready for her breakfast, and she will let you know when that bus pulls up for her to get out, to get on the bus and start her day. If these things are not taking place, Danara is not happy. So coming to the Harford Center, I watched how excited she would get watching for the bus to pull up. I knew she was at the right place.
Oh, that's adorable.
It is.
Now, I know there's a lot of activities that go on here at the Harford Center. Like, what would you say are some of the highlights for her?
Playing her keyboard.
Really?
There's a keyboard that they set in the hallway for Danara to play, and she would play that keyboard, and she knew how the keys went and the tune. Only she can operate that keyboard. That was her highlight, other than going out in the community on a regular basis.
Now, during the pandemic, how do you feel the Harford Center did keeping you and your daughter safe?
I think they did a great job. First, the staff take them to get the shot. It didn't inconvenience me at all. So them, they called and they asked if it was okay if Danara would be on the list to get her vaccine shots taken. And because if that wouldn't take place, I would have to take off from work. I would have to sign up or, go online. And it was real, it would have taken away from my everyday life or from my job. So when the Harford Center called and asked if she would be on the list to get that done and they would take care of transportation, I was all in for it because I wanted Danara to have the vaccine because I want Danara to stay safe.
Well, you were also a staff member. So talk about that experience. How long did you work here for?
I was a staff member here from 2016 to 2011. I started off part-time as a bus driver for transportation, and then I moved in and started working with a group of individuals, and then I went to working with just a one-on-one.
What would you say it was that drew you to work in this particular field?
My daughter.
Oh, gosh. How old is she now?
She's 32.
Is she really?
She's
okay.
32.
And how long has she been coming here?
Since 2011.
Wow. Okay, now that speaks volumes right there. Now, Daphne, coming from you, someone that has experience working here, if someone was looking for a job, why should they look to gain employment at the Harford Center?
If you are not, I would say, if you don't have love in your heart for less fortunate, then I wouldn't suggest you go into the field. But if you do, and you know you can make a difference, I would suggest you come to the Harford Center before you go anywhere else, because not just the clients or the individuals are fun, but the staff are the best. Your supervisors, from Sherry on down, they listen to you when you have concerns. They work with you when you need time off or you are not feeling well. They don't hold all this stuff against you like some other jobs would. They work with you. The pay is getting better. Everything is getting better. The buses, even down to the transportation, they're not like they used to be, run down. They have new buses. It's just much better than it was when Danara first came to the Harford Center. I am happy. Danara is happy. And so we see Danara going to be here for a very long time.
Daphne, thank you so much. I mean, obviously, like I said, that's the best testimonial that we could have heard. And we know that from what you've told us, the staff is great. They take care of their employees and their clients, and it sounds like your daughter enjoys it every single day.
You are so welcome, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for sharing the story.
You're welcome.
And coming up next, we're going to speak to another member on the board of directors and also a client here to talk to us more about her experience with the Harford Center. We'll be right back. I'm now joined by Victoria Sudano. She is a client here at the Harford Center, and she's here to tell us all about her experience and what it's like working with the staff. Hi, Victoria.
Hi.
Now, Victoria, I understand you've been at the Harford Center for 9 years. So let's talk about your time here. What was your experience like?
They taught me how to file things. Different things I did at the Harford Center, at Mason-Dixon in Street, Maryland. They taught me how to can stuff, and I already knew how to file things, and different things like that.
Now, what is your favorite thing to do here at the Harford Center? What's your favorite job?
At the Harford Center, I would say file things for them.
Well, hey,
At Mason-Dixon.
that's obviously a great thing to have, and we need people like you that can do something like that. Now, tell me, what do you mean when you say Mason-Dixon? Is that the other location?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It's a place, it's like a food pantry in Street, Maryland.
How has the Harford Center changed since you started?
We're wearing masks now. We never used to wear a mask because of COVID-19.
And you're on the board of directors too. So being on the board of directors, you have an opportunity to get your voices and your opinions heard. Do you feel like you've had a chance to really express them?
Mm-hmm. I told them about falling one time in the ice, and I said something to Miss Sherry about maybe closing the Harford Center if it's too icy. So that would be kind of safe for the clients too, so they wouldn't fall down or anything like that.
Now, if somebody else were thinking about the Harford Center might be a good place to send someone I know or someone I love, or even a good place for a family member, what would you say to them? Why would you tell them they should come to the Harford Center and participate in the activities and all the wonderful programs they have?
They're friendly here, and they treat you with respect and stuff like that.
So tell me, what is your favorite part about being involved with the Harford Center? Why do you keep coming back?
The different activities we do in the community. Sometimes we go to the mall. We used to go to the movies when that was open, but not anymore.
Since you've been here, have you made a lot of new friends?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Victoria, what if somebody was thinking about coming here? From your perspective, would you recommend it?
Mm-hmm. Because they're friendly people and the things we get to do.
Victoria, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Jillian Miller is the program supervisor here at the Harford Center. She's been here for about 5 years, and she's here to tell us all about the experience and why she enjoys working with the clients and the rest of the staff so much. Jillian, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Christy.
Now, Jillian, you have been with the Harford Center, you said, for about 5 years. So how did you first come about being an employee here?
So I was a residential supervisor at another agency, and I was losing out a lot of time with my family, my kids, and I wanted something that was still going to be fulfilling to me, but at the same time I would have that family work balance. And the Harford Center was hiring, and at the time I said, maybe I'll just take a break and not be a supervisor to anyone. Just going to come in and do the job because this is my passion. And that's what I did, and I loved it from the very first week I was here.
Jillian, you said when you were talking to me earlier, it's so fulfilling and you're so passionate about it. Why?
This field is something that you have to be passionate about. This is not a job that you come into just to get a paycheck or anything like that. This is something that you really need to be passionate about because you're impacting people's lives. And whether it's a positive impact or a negative impact, that's going to follow them through life. And so I come in here and immediately feel positive. You know, dealing with the individuals that we work with, they are our employers, and they make us feel like valued employees.
How has the Harford Center changed since you started?
Oh, it's been a huge change. Going from being in the building all the time to community-based was a change. It was a change for everyone. But once everyone got on board, it's like their passion. They see me coming in the door and they're like, all right, we're getting out of here. And they're out of there. They go and they do all the activities that you and I are able to do on our own without assistance. And so, you know, that is making such an incredible impact on our individuals' lives. I see people that I didn't know were able to do things, doing things, and I'm surprised, but now they have someone able to take them and do those activities.
Well, you know, I have seen so many photos of the clients that I've seen them at IHOP, I've seen them at the zoo, I've seen them at the movies. So talk to me more about these excursions and the reaction you get from the clients.
I think it's funny because it's the individuals that we support are excited, but they know that we're taking them there. It's really the staff members that are surprised because they've never been in a form of employment where it's like I go to my supervisor and I say, hey, I would like to do this, and our individuals would like to do this, and they say, go. And so seeing them out doing the activities, they have created such awesome relationships. If you go to the Pizza Hut in Havre de Grace here, they are familiar with our individuals, they're familiar with our staff members, and they treat them like family. And that it's about building relationships in the community.
Oh, I could not agree more. And you know, you do so much for the clients here, but you know, it's been tough on them and on you. So how did your job actually change when COVID approached?
We had to get really smart and really technologically savvy. And we started doing our online show twice a day. They loved it. So even the individuals that were not able to attend the center were able to, you know, participate and log in online and do an online show, and they play games and they get to make choices and say, this is the kind of songs that I want to listen to tomorrow for our dance party. They did all sorts of things, did baking activities online. You know, so it was really great. We went into the residential homes and did activities. So we never lost supports, and they never lost supports. Coming back was very effortless because we continue to have those relationships.
You've had so many wonderful moments here at the Harford Center, but what would you say would have been one of your proudest?
Oh my gosh, that's a tough question.
Isn't it?
We have so many great moments. I mean, we had an individual that was able to, you know, be employed, fully employed with the supports of the staff at the Highland Center. We do activities here. We have a guy that comes in and does banjo for free. And he just comes in, you know, and does the banjo, plays the banjo, goes to all the rooms and plays the banjo, and the individuals love it. We've just built so many amazing relationships. So I don't know what to say is the best thing because there are just too many.
And that is a great problem to have. So what would you say are the qualities that are essential to someone that would like to work here?
Oh, compassion, by far. Has to be compassion. You have to be reliable because a lot of our individuals, they go based on a schedule. And so if you cannot be consistent with a schedule, that throws them off, you know? And so that's where we run into an issue. But being compassionate, treating someone the way that you would want to be treated if it was your family member or your friend that was in, you know, this situation and needed assistance. I learned a lot being out of, you know, work when I had my surgery and thought about that. How does that impact someone when you have to be the person to help? And so you really do have to have that compassion, be caring, be creative, because it gets boring after you're doing the same activities all the time. And we have had some creative staff members.
Anyone that's thinking about, maybe I should apply at the Harford Center, what would you like them to know?
I would like to say this is a great place to be. It's a positive environment from the top to the bottom. You will walk around and not know who is a supervisor, who is an employee, who's an individual, because we all interact on the same level with everyone here.
Jillian, thank you so much. And it's just so great to speak to somebody on the inside that can really let us know the ins and outs of the Harford Center and why it is so meaningful to them. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, more to come. We'll be right back. The Harford Center has been serving people with disabilities for over 60 years, and they continue to advocate for them so they can live independent, fulfilling lives. If you would like to learn more about all their services, you can visit them at harfordcenter.org. I'm Christy Breslin. See you next month on Harford MagaScene.